Hello students, today we will discuss about story writing. Story writing क्या है? A short story is kind of prose fiction and in modern age it has achieved great importance and occupies a significant place in literature. The definition of short story is not easy because its range and style are unlimited and it cannot be confined to certain limitations of rules. The definition of short story is not easy because its range and style are unlimited and it cannot be confined to certain limitation of rules. As its title denotes, it covers only a few pages and offers a short time entertainment. It can be read in a period up to 1 hour and therefore brevity is the most outstanding characteristics of a short story. We can say that it can be read only in one sitting, but a shortened novel cannot be considered a short story. For a perfect short story, the writer has to observe certain rules and writing short story required certain techniques in matter and treatment both. Okay. First elements, the short story and its elements. Okay, हम इनके elements के बारे में पढ़ेंगे. First है plot. Aristotle, while referring to tragedy, speaks about the following 6 elements or parts of a literary piece. They are the plot, character, ethos, thought or dianonia or text, melody or meloge and spectacle or opus. Plot क्या है? Like any story, short story has a plot with a beginning, middle and the end. The drama and the prose fiction are compounded of the same raw material. Next है beginning. The beginning is there where we are introduced to characters, especially the main character and her problems. Next, middle. And the middle is there where the action and plot develop. The main character faces difficulties such as opposition from other people or challenging environment. देखिए, कोई भी शॉर्ट स्टोरी है, एक पीस है फिक्शन का. ओके, इट यूजली कवर्स फ्रॉम 1000 to 1500 वर्ड्स. इसमें लगभग इसको कवर करने के लिए 1000 से लेके 5000 वर्ड्स लिखे जाते हैं. शॉर्ट स्टोरीज आर पब्लिश्ड इन मैगजीन में पब्लिश होती है, न्यूज़पेपर में पब्लिश होती है, बुक में. अ शॉर्ट स्टोरी हैज़ अ स्मॉल कास्ट ऑफ कैरेक्टर्स. With one main character, it has a compact time frame. It takes place over the course of a few days or weeks. It has usually a single plot. The longer short stories may have a subplot also. Next है middle. The middle is there where the action and plot develop. The main character faces difficulties such as opposition from other people or challenging environment. Next, end. The end comes there where the main character trumps over biggest challenge. In case of a tragedy, he may fail also. The resolution should be satisfying and conclusive to the reader. Next है action. It is important that something should happen in a story. It cannot proceed without action which is being from the main character. Much of the action might take place inside the heads of characters, but there should be real change as a result. By the end of a short story, the main character should experience an internal change. This means that he has grown and developed as a person, overcoming a fear or recognizing acknowledged truth about himself or herself. अब हम हाउ टू राइट अ लाइफ स्टोरी. लाइफ स्टोरीज क्या होती हैं? अ लाइफ स्टोरीज इज अ ट्रू स्टोरी, तो इट शेयर्स फीचर्स विद द फिक्शनल स्टोरीज. लाइफ स्टोरीज आर आइदर बायोग्राफी, ऑटोबायोग्राफी. मोस्ट बायोग्राफीज एंड ऑटोबायोग्राफीज आर बुक लेंथ सिमिलर टू अ नॉवल. हाउ टू राइट अ लाइफ स्टोरी. ओके, लाइफ स्टोरी कैसे लिखी जाती है? द फॉलोइंग आर द टिप्स फॉर राइटिंग अ लाइफ स्टोरी. फर्स्ट है शेयरिंग ऑफ राइटिंग एफर्ट्स. It's hard to write in isolation, and sharing your work with other writers is a great way to get feedback and suggestions. Look for a local writers circle or join an online forum. You want to find somewhere that's supportive but where people are not afraid to offer advice about things that are not working in your story. Next, regular learning. Writing is a craft that you can learn like any other. There are hundreds of books on all aspects of writing, from the nuts and bolts of grammar and punctuation to writing in specific genres. You can also find free advice on the internet. You can even take a degree or postgraduate course in creative writing. Next, regular practice. All well as learning about writing, you need to practice. That means writing regularly, ideally daily. As you write more, your stories will get better, your characters are more real, your plots are convincing, and your endings are deeply satisfying to readers. You will also find the writing itself becomes easier. You will spend less time struggling to find the right words and more time enjoying seeing the story spill from your fingers. Next, regular revision. All authors need to revise their work. Your first draft might have a log of problems, inconsistent characterization, scenes which don't really fit, holes in the plot, incorrect pacing or tension. Don't worry if this is the case. Most published authors have to extensively rewrite their first drafts to always allow time to revise your story, and if possible, do several rewrites. Most authors recommend letting your story sit unread for a few days or weeks, then you complete a draft so that you can come to it with fresh eyes. A life story needs to be engaging and encouraging for the reader. Don't include boring details just because they are true. The reader does not need to know anything that happened. In many cases, details of childhood or dull years. Don't include boring details just because they are true. The reader does not need to know everything that happened. In many cases, details of childhood or dull years can be summarized or told through a few vividly drawn incidents. Structure your piece as a story focusing on interesting events and incidents. Show the personality of the subject and making sure the reader will find them at least partially likable. Be conscious of the other people involved. Try to sensitive to how they might feel and avoid getting for liable. Make sure you are certain of your facts. The short story writer is compelled to observe certain limitations. He has to concentrate his attention on a particular event, idea, or character and cannot deal with anything on a wider scale. Everything unnecessary has to be skillfully taken away. This singleness of aim, directness of method, and concentration lead to creating powerful impression, though it needs a very great care and great skill, because any defect of any type in a short story can be easily pointed out. It cannot present life in all its variety, and there is no possibility of the gradual evolution of character. It is now generally recognized that the short story is one of the most popular form of literary composition. The modern reader has no time to read a large novel because it requires much patience. So he wants something that he can read in a short time whenever he finds time, and short story comes forward to satisfy this argue. It is very important perfect short time entertainment. Secondly, the spread of education and development in journalism have contributed much to its popularity. People are not interested in reading thoughtful works. What they want something lighter, and short story satisfies this demand, and so the evolution of the short story has something to do with the evolution of the general reader. In the modern age, there is a large variety of short story as and newer writers are coming forward in this field. They are bringing the stories of the highest merit, and so the literature of short story is very rich. It is unanimously agreed that the short story were present in the Old Testament, and the most popular old stories can be found in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Maupassant wrote about 300 years stories on various subjects. Maugham is considered to be the best story writer of the world, and people read them with great pleasure. Even today, they reveal his wide knowledge of men and women of all the working class. Short story is considered to be the most popular genre of literature in the modern age and is a part of literature. It was accepted in the last century only. What the origin of a short story is very old, perhaps as old as the civilization itself. It has been popular in every age and every country. Since times immemorial, all men and women, young or old, form of short story can be found in morality books, but they took a proper form of the story in the tales of adventure and bravery among the tribal heroes. They deals with the theme of their bravery among the tribal heroes. Okay. Thank you for watching.